The first Descendant was a game I had my eye on for a long time. Being a sci-fi free-to-play looter shooter, this seemed right up my alley, so I eagerly anticipated to get my hands on it. As such, I jumped in when the first open access was available and I was not disappointed. There were some issues, some bugs, some bad projection and sound design, but that's to be expected at such an early stage. Then it came out properly last year, 2024, but I decided to give it a year to fix all the bugs and issues games like this usually have at launch, and to see if it could make it to a year, since so many live service games die under a year and sometimes don't even last even a month, as Concord would attest to. Also, at the time, I was playing Wayfinder, a game I enjoyed so much. There's a review of it on this channel if you'd like to see it. So I really didn't have time to do it all. But now was finally time. I jumped in during the month of August when it is slower for video game releases and because the first Descendant was having an event to celebrate its first year. So it seemed to be the perfect time to start. And indeed it was, because it did not disappoint. Like so many must have realized, this is a combination of Destiny and Warfare. For the most part, the hub, the missions, the layout, the weapon drops, all follows the Destiny recipe. With progression, system mechanics, item economics, and Descendant acquisition, this follows the Warframe recipe. The balance between the two is not a perfect one, and there are issues in both of them, but Nexon does seem to have found a good equilibrium between the two. If you're coming from Warframe, like me, this will actually feel easier since there's pretty good tutorials and drop chances are displayed to better acquire certain items. But if you're coming from Destiny, although you feel right at home with missions and weapon drops, the underlying system mechanics might be a bit too demanding for your taste. In writing this review, I will be comparing it a lot to Warframe since this is a dedicated channel for that game and also it is the one I am most familiar with to relate to. I, for one, was and am pleased with it. The story alone is amazing and is a really focal point of the entire game. It's much easier and much cooler than the bundle up mess of scrap pieces we get in Warframe. And although the principle is the same, there is a woman, an entity that is leading us in our quest, here we do get a proper villain, a kind of MacGuffin to strive for, and some really cool characters to help us along the way.
If you do that, we won't be able to decipher the unidentified guide code.
The intrigue, the drama, the animation, the voiceover, everything is really good. There are some lip sync issues and shader issues sometimes, but I can honestly say that even there, I've seen much worse in full play titles.
My treatment uses spiral catalysts to separate fused human DNA from vulgus cells.
I did play through the entire main quest that I urge you not to skip, and it took me about 2 weeks with no skips, so it is quite extensive. Then there's a bunch of side quests I haven't even gotten around to. There's Bunny Quest, she's one of the side characters and another Descendant, seasonal quests, battle pass, etc. So there's a lot here. Not the same amount as in Warframe, because that's a 12-year-old game, but for 1 year game, this is more than enough. The missions are either displayed as beacons in the open world or as straightforward linear paths with mid-bosses and bosses we need to conquer. This follows the format of Destiny, and although I would like some variation like in Warframe, so no two missions are exactly the same, I also enjoy the fact that once you know where the enemy is coming from, you can just breeze through it. The weapons follow two paths. Drops, you get them from missions, like in Destiny, but you can also build them, like in Warframe. The thing that distinguishes them from either game is the proficiency level. Despite the weapon coming with their own stats, you can improve on them by upgrading their proficiency. They do more damage, but they also count to increase your mastery rank. To be true, leveling up weapons and Descendants counts for your mastery rank, just like in Warframe. So your mastery rank improves your storage and equipment, but also your module and component storage. The models work just like in Warframe. If you're familiar with that system, they drop doing missions, but with some changes. Weapons have an elemental damage type or none at all. They just do physical damage. Now you can improve on this with a workbench by rolling the perks, just like in Destiny, but you can also mod for it. Also, you only get 4 elements and not 8 like in Warframe. You get fire, electric, and toxic. Combinations of elements do not exist like in Warframe, but you can mod and add more than one element to the same weapon, which is pretty cool. Weapons also come with 4 perks each that you can roll on your workbench for better stats, like in Destiny. Then you have reactors and components. This is similar to Destiny, where different armor parts add different stats, but you can also improve them on your workbench. Reactors usually are better matched with each Descendant element and they can be upgraded. Components can also be upgraded, but they have the added bonus that if you use 4 of the same set, you have a specific characteristic unlock. That said, weapons, reactants, and components, all the best are yellow or gold. These are the high tier ones with level 100. Weapons have 4 perks, and reactors and components have 2. Everything else is good when you're starting, but not good enough to make it to endgame. I'm comparing it a lot to Warframe because one of the things that gave me a lot of grief was just the sheer amount of content DE dishes out with every update. Syndicate, weapons, warframes, missions, cosmetics, decorations, mods, arcanes, and on and on and on and on. Lots of content. But content isn't value. Warframe is a game that just seems to get too big for itself with every update. So, one of the things I was asking for was to trim the fat of the game and give us content drops in a more digestible manner. But I'm the minority because the Warframe community is a voracious beast that just wants to eat everything all at once. So that probably won't happen, and if it will, it won't be soon. Fortunately, the first Descendant seems to be just right. It is a smaller scale of what we have in Warframe, but it is more digestible. We don't have to spend 5 hours to get something that has a 1% top drop chance because they even have a system where the longer you play, the odds of getting the item that you want actually increase. And whenever they had something, it will be added with a proper objective in mind and will be available at the existing hub and not in the dozens of other hubs with their own syndicates and all that it implies, like in Warframe. So, remember in my TennoCon 2025 video where I said that although I will rarely return to Warframe, I will be playing something else? Well, this is now my something else. I've seen many other Warframe vets also jump into the game and they are also quite enjoying it. So why not give it a try? I have to tell you, the story alone is really worth it. So this has been my first Descendant review. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe. And as always, have a great game, guys.